Give me a little intro there, Gomer.
There's no turning back now.
Let's put on the show.
You're listening to the Station 71 podcast. My name is Mario, and this week I'm joined by my co-hosts,
Beth?
Brian?
And Kirsten.
So we decided to do kind of a fun topic this week. This one comes from our listener, Matt, who suggested to us that we do kind of a game where Disney is closing down and consolidating all of its parks worldwide into one park. We can only pick, he had suggested 20 attractions and shows and 5 restaurants to save. We kind of opted to go a different route and do 10 because 20 would take us a while. Are we still doing 5 restaurants? Does 5 restaurants seem fair?
I only prepared 2, but I could probably come up with...
Let's do 2.
I mean, I could probably come up with a few. If y'all want to do 5.
Let's stick with 2, and I know Kirsten wanted to do a resort. So what is our ruling on resort? Does that count as an attraction, or is that just an option thrown in?
Yeah, let's give it its
Yeah,
own
we
category.
can. Yeah,
Okay.
I think it can be by itself.
So we're flying by the seat of our pants tonight, if you couldn't tell.
Oh, yeah. Much like how we always do this show.
Yeah, that's very fair. His suggestion was that everything else is closed forever. What do you pick to save? So, of course, we're going to dive into the news before we discuss this at all. So let's talk about some stuff that's happening around the parks this week. First up is that we have, Kirsten, you should be very excited for this one. Disney is hiring for dancers with aerial abilities for the Festival of the Lion King. So if you're looking to fill that position, now is your chance. They will be holding auditions soon.
Let me tell you, if I was under that 110-pound weight limit, I'd be in Orlando right now. Not that I have ballet skills, which is another requirement, but whatever.
Hey, fake it till you make it, right?
Or until you break your neck.
Or fake it till you make it, or
make
fake
it
it
or
till you
break
break
it.
it.
Yeah. I would consider breaking a bone if I could do that aerial routine one time.
I mean, this is your dream role, so what's a few broken rooms to get there? But this means that the show could be coming back in its full capacity soon, which is also exciting. It's got to be a couple months before they actually start bringing them back, right?
I don't know. I want to know what happened to all the original people who were aerialists. Like, they
That's
can't.
A good question.
Like, they gained quarantine weight. They're not in the weight limit anymore.
I mean, that is like light. That is very.
That's tiny.
Especially because you can be up to 5'4". Like 5'4" and 110 pounds is very small.
It's interesting that there's a height. It has, for the male, it has to be 5'10" or above, but there's no weight.
But they don't ever
limit.
Do they actually fly? The dude?
Oh yeah, I guess it does. I don't remember him flying.
I feel like they do, but it's to a lesser degree.
They do like a thing where they're together spinning around, right? Like she picks him up or something. Or they like, I don't know. They're like on the line
I feel
together.
Yeah.
I
don't know. It's been that long without Festival of the Lion King that we forget how this works.
Well, yeah, we don't remember the show as well.
That's sad. So next news topic that we have on here is that they have started installing the Star Blasters outside of the Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster in Epcot, much to the dismay of the internet.
Oh, the internet's mad.
The internet's real mad. You guys
I don't really understand why. It's not like...
Are you all ready for this? This is my favorite discourse of the year so far. the internet is mad because there is a support beam under the spaceship, and it's not being held up like it was in the concept art, which was by a single wing that was hovering over the ground.
I'm mad about that.
Okay,
Hey,
I can
you know
kind of
what?
understand that. I thought people were just mad because they didn't like the aesthetic of it, like the ship itself.
Well, I think that it's just one of those things that like Disney's always tried to be really good about having the like that sort of magical aesthetic and hiding all of that kind of stuff, you know. But then when you look in the past few years, I feel like they've gotten sloppy, like the back of Star Wars.
Oh God,
Well,
the
yeah, the
worst.
back of Star Wars is horrible.
You know, and
Just
stuff
waiting
like
on
that.
those trees to
So,
grow in.
yeah, so like if there was going to be a support beam, then they should have it in the concept art. And if I don't know, I just feel like was there a way for them to make it look like it was floating and then they cheaped out? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Or is it going to be gone eventually? It should be because it's a
So we have the floating mountains in Pandora, so I really don't think there's an excuse for them to have a support beam. It's very obvious they can do better things at hiding and making things look like they're floating.
See,
I will say, I'll play devil's advocate here. Before Kirsten gets mad. Okay, yes, the beam does not look good, but I feel like with Pandora, you are supposed to be on Pandora. You're like thrust into that, you know, that world. Here, I think they're kind of just trying to put the ship on display. Like, I don't think they're trying to make it look like, oh, this ship is actually flying and you are, you know, in Guardians of the Galaxy. But that being said,
yeah, but I mean, I feel like if I recall, when these ships are stationary in the movies, they just sit on the thing.
Yeah, but
they don't sit on a post or a beam or whatever.
My whole thing with this though is this isn't like Pandora. It's further back. The floating mountains aren't exactly like up front and center. This is more like right in front of the attraction. One, kids are going to climb on it. They need to have something supporting it. And two, it's still behind a construction wall. That's the part that gets me is like, I feel like this is so on par for Disney fans to get mad about a thing that's behind a wall still.
Well, if it's fixed by the time it's open, like it's fine, but I bet it's going to stay like that.
I wouldn't be surprised, but
also, if kids climb on it, like that's their problem. People should control their children better, and I say that as a person with a child.
So yeah, I'm gonna put in my little bit of not expert knowledge on this and say that if this was temporary, that this whole structure would not be like powder coated or painted like it is, because that would just be a pointless waste of cost if this was only going to be a temporary for construction type thing.
We know they hate wasting money.
So I'm going to assume that this is the thing.
It probably is, but my other thought is too, like, we don't know if there's going to be something else here around that. Like,
that's okay. Yeah.
You know, they could potentially blend this in better and then it wouldn't be a big deal. But I also don't think like a support post is that big of a deal because, again, if someone's kid climbs on that and the wing is the only thing that's supporting it, look at how thin those wings are. I don't think that would hold it up.
Bad design.
So. Yeah, but then how else would you? The question is, how else would you do this?
Like, well, I'm not an engineer, so it's not my problem to figure out.
I feel like everybody should have that mentality, but then you also can't be mad about it. Like that. I don't know.
They showed it in the concept art, so
but that's all it is a concept.
I don't care. It looks better.
We want it to look exactly like.
If I wanted to know how to do that, I would have become an engineer or an architect. But you can't tell me that there's not people smart enough to figure it out.
You know, the thing, I think the biggest thing for me is that even if it was just floating, I think this thing is kind of gaudy looking and takes up a ton of space and doesn't really need to be there at all.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's just we need to draw them over there.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. I guess last news topic that we have on here before we talk about fun stuff is that Josh Diamaro has debuted a new video message series on his LinkedIn channel to go over some updates around the Disney theme parks. Apparently, this was a thing that he was doing for Florida-based cast members, and he's going to start doing it more for the public. It's an interesting concept. I'm indifferent on any Disney CEO, or Disney executive, so I have no feelings on this.
I mean, I do feel like at least he is, as far as executives go, one of the better ones. You know, I'm kind of the camp that most people that are in the super high, like, wealthy tier have done some nefarious stuff to get there, but he seems like a pretty genuine person, and I feel like he does care. He seems like he cares a lot about cast members, so at least it seems like a cool thing to do. And, you know, it doesn't take a whole lot of time and effort.
Yeah, and I think Disney knows that. I mean, who else would you get to do this? You're not going to get Chapek to do it because none of the fans are going to care or want to hear from him. You know,
Right, exactly.
Even if it was someone like him that a lot of people don't like, I would be actually kind of interested to hear what he has to say about the you know, what the park is, or the company as a whole is doing. So as far as Josh Diamaro is concerned, I think my whole thing with him and just, I don't know. I think that I'm kind of in the same position that you were saying you were in, Beth, with, like, I feel like there's more to it than we know. At least he's vocal and, like, front facing on the company. I don't know how I feel about him, though. That's the problem, is, like, he is more in the front of the company than a lot of the other park executives have been, which is nice, and you see his face more. But I also wonder, like, if he's in front of it so that we don't see what's going on or care as much about, like, the budget cuts and things like that that happened during the Chapek Disney era, or Disney Parks era.
Yeah,
What do you
maybe
mean
he's the
happened
sugar
there?
coating
We're still in it.
happening. Yeah.
Anyway, are we ready to talk about fun stuff this week? We could talk about our topic at
Well,
hand.
I want to preface this by saying I don't know how fun this topic was, because it really made me sad to not be able to include everything I wanted to include. But I do feel like if I could have all of the things that I picked in one park, that would be a really great park to be in.
Yes. Now, I'm curious as to how you guys approach this too. Did you approach this as, like, I'm trying to build the best park, or did you try to build, like, the quintessential Disney park, since there's only one Disney park?
No, I tried to build the best park.
Oh,
I tried to build the park that I would want to go to. I don't really care what anybody else wants.
Well, I tried to have a good variety of different stuff, but I know I was still biased. So.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same camp, Brian. I tried to be like, this is what I would want in a Disney park, and this is what I would see as, like, the quintessential Disney park. But I feel like my bias definitely shows.
Well, see, luckily for everyone else, I have really good taste, so the park will work out for everyone.
Well,
You know, just saying. So who wants to go first? How do we do this? Do we go all of our attractions? Do we go one at a time? What do we do?
I say we do this section by section, like the categories, so that we can argue about that, and then argue about the next one.
I also don't think that, because we didn't decide that, like, we're taking things off the table for other people, I would assume, right? Because I only picked 10 things, and I don't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. So if there's discussion, then I feel like we're at least going to kind of have that wrapped up. So who wants to start?
All right.
Do we
Well,
want-
did everyone put Haunted Mansion on their attractions list?
They
Yes.
better
We could
have.
go ahead and get that out of the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. So
So-
Haunted Mansion is a lock.
Yeah, I struggled with this one actually because I wanted to put a version of Haunted Mansion in there, but I was trying to figure out which one to put in. Was there one that you guys specifically picked, or because
Well-
every park has their own Haunted Mansion type of ride?
So, as far as Haunted Mansion goes, I put on my list in parentheses Magic Kingdom version, but I also put Mystic Manor. And no, I don't care that I have 2 versions of Haunted Mansion on my list, but because this is notably the only attraction on my list that I haven't experienced personally, but it's also the one that I'm like dying to ride the most. So I was like, I feel like it could still be cool with 2 versions because they're so different.
Yeah,
I put several things I haven't experienced.
I have one on here that I'm curious to see how we feel about it. But I also, for Haunted Mansion, I put Magic Kingdom version specifically because I know that that's the version that I have more attachment to. I did really want to put the Disneyland version though, just because I feel like there's they have a little bit extra in terms
Yeah.
of stuff.
It's
You know what I'm
pretty
gonna say?
similar though.
I'm probably gonna get some hate on this, but I really like the exterior aesthetic of the Magic Kingdom one better than
Oh no, I
Disneyland.
absolutely do.
Oh,
I do
okay.
too.
I feel like that's a really hot take that most people are like, "Ugh, no.
I like
the
them
original's the
both. I
best."
really like them both, but I do prefer Magic Kingdoms.
So are you guys ready for my the one that everybody is going to disagree with me on?
Mhm.
Ready?
I put Peter Pan on here because I feel like to me that is, yes, I know I took up space with that attraction, but to me that's like, when I was looking at this, I wanted to build, like I said, the Disney park, like the quintessential Disney park. And for me, I put Peter Pan on here specifically because it feels very much like a Disney attraction, and it is probably one of the better like storybook attractions. I also think, it is a little dated, but the feeling of flying over the scenery is still really fun. And I think that, like, obviously Peter Pan is an older movie, so it's got more like timelessness to it than something like Frozen. And I wanted to kind of put at least one storybook ride in here for the sake of like covering my bases.
That was a good argument, but I still think you're wrong.
That's fine. I wanted to get it out of the way early. So somebody else take a ride.
Okay.
Or are we just each individually saying one ride at a time?
Yeah, and then we
So
can
we're
we can
done.
discuss it.
Did
Yeah.
y'all rank yours?
No.
No.
Uh,
I 100% did. I'm sure everybody can guess my number.
Okay.
Tower Terror.
Yeah.
I would have a whole
I had-
park filled with just Tower of Terrors.
Well, I'm
Or
with
do
you,
that.
Kirsten. It made my list as well.
hmm Yeah, I'm trying to get a little bit of something for everybody, and it's like the only real drop type ride, and it's great. So,
I think that's the one thing that, like, that was the reason I also put it on mine, was because it feels like I wanted to kind of have, like I said, my bases covered. And I feel like in terms of thrill rides, there were a couple that stood out that I really wanted to put in here because they just felt very Disney. And while, Twilight Zone isn't necessarily a Disney IP, it also feels very well themed and well put together, and that's exactly what I want to stay in the only Disney park. Plus, it also fits with Haunted Mansion. They could just have like their own creepy little corner.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Like Spooky Town.
Did everybody
Um,
put Flight of Passage?
I did not.
I did not either.
Oh wow,
Wait, am I the
that's
only one?
yeah. I guess
Aaron
so.
Lee.
Whoa.
I just feel like it's gonna age really
Yes,
fast.
that was my thought too. Is that it's great now, but is it gonna be great in 15 years?
I mean, I guess they could always, do new technology and refurbish it. But I mean,
I'm sorry, Carousel of Progress is still there, so I don't think that's really an argument that Disney uses.
yeah, but Flight of
Yeah.
Passage doesn't have that like nostalgic classic feel to it like Carousel of Progress does.
I can't be nostalgic for Carousel of Progress because the most updated scene is like before my birth.
Well,
That's fair.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's fair. I don't know. It just has like a charm to it. And don't get me wrong, I love Flight of Passage, and like it made me very emotional the first time I wrote it, but it just doesn't seem as, I don't know, timeless to me.
Yeah.
Which Carousel of Progress is not on my list, so I don't want to, make anybody make any assumptions.
Y'all know I'm just about the thrill ride, so.
Yeah.
Well, and to your point, Beth, right? Like the first time I got off of Flight of Passage, I remember being very emotional too. But I feel like subsequent rides have made me feel less emotional, and it's not even because like it's any different of a ride, right? Like it's the same attraction, but I feel like once you get that initial like shock of wow, this is actually a ride, it kind of like slowly starts to wear off. It's still a great attraction, but I think that it isn't going to age very well in the grand scheme of things.
You just keep searching for that first time rush.
No, I get that because like I think it's really an incredible attraction, but it's like more of a physically and like visually impressive ride than it is really emotionally, I think, and that's why I think that, like we're saying, after a while it's not, you don't get that same rush of riding it. Even though it's fun, even though it's really awesome to look at, there's not as much emotional connection.
Yeah, and also it just kind of makes me sad that it's not longer and I can't go live in that world for a little while. I will say I have one on here that might be kind of controversial.
Oh boy.
I put Rise of the Resistance.
I did too.
But I'll tell you why. I feel like it is as current Disney parks stand, it is the one that showcases Walt Disney Imagineering and all that they can do the best right now. And I'm not saying it's going to be like that forever. I'm sure that a new, bigger, better attraction will come along. But I feel like it's enough of a feat of Imagineering that it deserved a place in my park.
I put it on there mainly because I thought that everybody else would have it and I would get a lot of crap for having it too.
Hey, hot take. I think Rise of the Resistance is going to age worse than Flight of Passage.
Really?
I actually kind of agree with that. So give me your take first, Brian, since you brought this up, because I'm curious if we share the same sentiments.
So again, I'm never a huge fan of screen-based attractions, but I believe that because Flight of Passage is, almost 100% screen-based, that they focus very, very intently on making it not feel like it's screen-based. There's movement. They do a lot with the ride vehicle to make it feel like you're not staring at a screen. I think one of the issues that I had with Rise of the Resistance is that because the practical effects in it are so good, that when you are kind of thrust in front of a screen, it's very apparent. Whereas with Flight of Passage, you can kind of lose yourself in the ride and it doesn't break that immersion.
Yeah.
The screens, I feel like, are pretty few and far between in Rise of the Resistance. Like I feel like it's mostly practical effects.
It's too many screens for my taste.
I will say I agree with you that it is mostly practical effects. I do think the one thing Rise has going for it is kind of the immersive experience aspect of it, where it's
right.
Like you step into the ride before you actually step into a ride vehicle, and I appreciate it for that. I do think the unfortunate thing of it is, I think Star Wars was a good IP to tie it to, and I think that it's great. But I think the reason that it's going to age a little bit poorly is because of the attraction's length. I I think the actual ride itself is a lot longer than it possibly needs to be, and I think the first couple rides are very oh my god, look over here, look at this thing, this is great. And I do agree with Beth that I think it's in its current state, and as the newest attraction, it's probably the finest way to showcase what Imagineering is like right now. But I think over the years, the weight on that attraction is going to die a little bit because people aren't going to be as in shock about the things that they're seeing after second, third, and fourth rides.
That's a very good point, and not to get too spoiler alerty. So if you haven't ridden Rise of the Resistance, maybe not a good time to be listening. But yeah, like the transportation part at the beginning, like that's gonna, I feel like, get old. Now I've only ridden it once, so maybe it won't. But I feel like having to ride it multiple times and go through the same like transport carrier scene kind of before you're on the ride, like that seems like it's gonna get old very quickly.
See, I like that, but I think it's the actual, like, once you get in the ride vehicle is what's gonna get old for me.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, y'all, I hate to break it to you, but I only got 10 rides in my park, so they're all gonna get old eventually.
Yeah, seriously.
So,
That is a good point.
but to speak more a little bit about the whole experience of Rise of the Resistance, I think that I can see what you guys are saying as far as like the transport scene and the ride itself, but like I think that the immersive interactions with like the cast members being different every time is a really fun element of it that's often overlooked, because I think it's when the cast members are in character, which they usually are pretty good in character, it's really fun to interact with them and to watch them interact with other people.
It is a good point.
I will absolutely agree with that. Yeah, it didn't make my list though.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Well, I'll go ahead and throw one in here because as I was going through mine, I almost forgot to include some edutainment, and I don't think we could have a Disney park without some edutainment in it. So I went with the best one there is, Living with the Land.
Oh, that's a good pick.
Brian, I kind of wish that you didn't take that now, because that was going to be my segue into restaurants.
Okay, so we already know what you're doing.
So I actually really had a hard time trying to decide on restaurants, but I wanted to do, and I'm going to talk about this now. I thought Living with the Land is a great attraction, but having it with Garden Grill and having the option to be like, oh yeah, these things are grown right here, I think that is very much a key part of the edutainment that it provides. And I also think that that's kind of like, that is, to me, it sums up what I want Epcot to be, is that, you know, I'm going to go learn something, and I'm also going to get to kind of like have a little bit to do with it too. And going to Garden Grill is a nice addition with Living with the Land.
Nice. That's a good point. And I realize like how much of my stuff now feels very disconnected and would probably make a terrible park because it's literally just like plucked from all different places so we can get a nice, you know, variety. Whereas yours is that you actually kind of designed a park with that.
Oh, I did not design a park.
Well, you clearly put more thought into it than I did.
Those two were the only things that I think were really kind of more selected than anything else. Everything else is kind of like thrown together.
Okay.
Does anybody else have one they want to go with, or should I throw another one out there?
Throw one out there.
Here's mine that I'm curious to see if it made Kirsten's list, since she said that she has a list of stuff that she's never experienced. I put Sinbad's Storybook Adventure or Storybook Voyage on my list.
Good pick.
From Disney Sea. Again, this is an attraction I have never visited, never been on. But I do think that I needed more kid-friendly attractions. And I wanted something with not really ties to a Disney movie because of my argument for Peter Pan. So I selected Sinbad because I feel like that would be a nice one to have in our parks.
Interesting. That's a deep cut, man.
It is. And Kirsten's on mute, so she totally missed that.
So I was thinking kind of along the same lines as you, as far as needing. I guess it wouldn't really be a kids attraction, but I did think that like at first when I was going through all of my stuff, I was like, oh look, I've got some nice thrill rides, and it was stuff that I like. But then I said, we need something that's kind of not super thrilling that the kids can enjoy, but it's still kind of thrilling. And then I thought, well, anything outside of our park. So I put the Matterhorn bobsleds because I think it's like a good first aesthetic piece to put in the parks, and then secondly, not super high thrill level that a lot of different age groups can enjoy.
All right, Brian, you've never ridden Matterhorn bobsleds, right?
I have not, so you're about to tear this apart.
No,
aren't
no.
you?
Okay, so here's the thing: is the ride itself is really cool, but it hurts to ride. I was literally hobbling off of that ride like an old lady. My back hurt so bad, and I don't know if it's just the way I was sitting or the car I was in or what. But oh my gosh, I've never been hurt by a ride like that before.
Oh man.
But other than that, I do not have complaints, and I agree with your pick.
So like Space Mountain?
No, I mean, I didn't even hurt as bad on Space Mountain as I did on Matterhorn. But that being said, I would still probably rather ride the Matterhorn because it's more fun.
You know what I think would be really cool, and they'll never do it, but if they actually took like Matterhorn and turned it into an alpine coaster, I think that would be kind of an interesting thing to do. Where you can y'all know what alpine coasters are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds like lawsuits when people's fingers get cut off, though.
100%.
Yeah.
Which is one of the biggest reasons they'll never do it. Between that and people slamming into the back of everyone else, but I think an experience like that would be very unique to have in the parks.
Yeah. Maybe they could do kind of like a hybrid where it feels like you're controlling it, but you're not really.
Or that lets you control it within a certain extent,
Right. Well, on a similar note, I put the Matterhorn bobsled's close relative, Expedition Everest, on mine. Because gotta have a coaster, and that's my favorite one that I've ever ridden at a Disney park. So
I also had that one on there.
So I actually had it at first, and then I thought, okay, I can't have Expedition Everest and the Matterhorn in the same park when there's only 10 attractions.
Hey, why not? I put Haunted Mansion and Mystic Manor. So
yeah, but I feel like those are far enough apart.
They're different enough.
Yeah, which I mean, not to say that Expedition Everest and Matterhorn are that similar, but aesthetically, you can't have two giant snow.
You can have two mountains. They're just running into each other.
That's a little much.
Put them on opposite ends of the park too. So it's like
okay.
There you go.
Kirsten, did you have one you want to throw in there? Or have we been taking some of them?
Or is she gone?
I don't know. I'll throw another one out there then if she's not around. Not similar to you guys. I also wanted to keep classic attractions, and I put Dumbo on my list. I feel like that was kind of a necessary add to my park.
Dumbo actually, believe it or not, made my list as well.
Can y'all hear me now?
Hey.
Yes.
I'm on my work computer. I'm not even on my crappy computer. So
oh no.
I had a lot of good commentary for Brian.
Oh no.
I said
For
Magic Kingdom and its 3 mountains would like a word with you on having 2.
Yeah, that's actually very fair.
They aren't like literal mountains, all of them.
That's true.
I disagree.
But let's go back to Dumbo then, unless you had something else to say.
No, just that Brian's wrong, but that's okay.
So yeah, Dumbo actually made it on my list as well because if I recall correctly, it's the only attraction that is in every Disney park, or at least, a park of every Disney resort across the world.
which
And
was
so
exactly
I
why I
felt
put it
like,
on mine too.
yeah, I felt like that was a good, representation. It's a classic ride. I agree with you that there needs to be a couple of those. And it's an all ages ride. I found myself adding, a lot of stuff that I liked. I'm a big thrill rides person, and kind of like you were saying earlier, I felt like I needed something for the younger ones.
Wow, I
That's a
have
good point.
nothing for the younger ones. Mine is basically like that thrill ride park that everybody wishes they would build.
Kirsten made Universal Studios
Basically.
before
Better
Harry Potter.
theming.
Yeah. I'll say one that I have not experienced. I put Tron on there because it looks awesome. And I bet it's fun.
I bet you're right.
Yeah, I really can't wait for that ride to open.
Me either.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched the ride
Honestly, kind of
through.
forgot about it.
Oh my god.
It's been taking so long.
I've watched the ride through, so like I'm ready. My body is ready.
Nice.
Yeah. And I also put from
What-
Shanghai, I put Pirates of the Caribbean too, the Shanghai version, because it also looks awesome.
I struggled so hard to try to decide if I wanted to put a Pirates in my park, and I could not decide on one, so I left it off.
I did, and
put a
I
Pirates.
I went with the Disneyland version.
I also went with the Disneyland version. Good choice.
I feel like, I mean, if you want to pick a classic, then you have to go with the Disneyland version. You can't use the Magic Kingdom one, so.
Yeah, I mean, the Disneyland version is superior to the Magic Kingdom one for sure. The one in Shanghai looks really awesome and cool, but I feel like it's gonna have the same problem as Flight of Passage, where it starts to age really
It's
quickly.
kind of its own thing, It's like it's not even really an iteration of a Pirates attraction in a park. It feels like it's kind of its
like
own
a
thing.
sequel.
Yeah.
I guess. I would have landed in the same space that Kirsten did. That would have probably been the one that I picked. Because it just looks really cool.
Yeah.
It does look really cool for
Clearly,
sure.
I go for what's trendy, I guess.
That's okay. So one thing that I knew that a Disney park really needs is a show based around animatronics. So I put the Tiki Room down.
Oh god.
And then I took it off and I put Country Bear Jamboree.
I was gonna say something doesn't feel right
I was
here.
waiting
But
for Country
honestly,
Bears.
I was thinking about it and I thought I do want an attraction, a show attraction that has animatronics in it. And I really was kind of tossing up between Country Bear Jamboree and Tiki Room because I want a classic one. And I just thought that even though Tiki Room has more animatronics, I feel like Country Bear Jamboree has better animatronics. So I also
will
like it more,
agree with
so-
that.
okay, so there we go.
See, I did not have that thought, even though I was trying to kind of build the same way you were. I totally did not think animatronic show because maybe this is a hot take, but there hasn't been one that makes me feel like it's going to stand up for a while.
I mean, that's fair. I think Disney has kind of moved away from a fully animatronic, like theater-based show. Yeah, I don't really. I feel like we kind of have to pick a classic one if we're putting it in the parks because I don't think they're probably really gonna do anymore.
Yeah.
Not like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna pretend that Country Jamboree is still an e-ticket attraction, but I don't think they're ever gonna do like another e-ticket level attraction that's an animatronic show.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah. Well, I had one that is not a show, but it still includes a lot of animatronics.
What is
What
that?
was that?
So I put the Jungle Cruise on my list
Yay! Me too.
Yep.
because it is super rewritable. It is amazing for people like me that love puns. And, they switch it up a little bit every time. So it's not like the same thing over and over. Plus, it just got refurbished. So it's already got a little bit of extra sparkle on it. And it's just a great ride.
My thought, and maybe you guys are going to laugh at me for this, but I was looking at this and I was like, I feel like asking to do attractions that are no longer around kind of like breaks the rules. I really wanted to put Great Movie Ride on specifically for that reason. but Jungle Cruise kind of fills that void for me right now.
Yeah.
Okay, well then I shouldn't put Jungle Cruise, but I honestly didn't even think about it. I think it's a good one.
Plus, you got Jingle Cruise at Christmas, so it makes it even a different version.
So does original Soarin' break the rules? Because I definitely put that.
No, I think that's fair. I mean, it's the same
still
concept.
in California, right? Didn't they bring it back?
Yeah, that's true. It is in California. So
So-
no, there you go.
Oh, good.
There you go.
Oh, were we only supposed to pick
Uh-oh.
alive attractions?
Yes.
What was your not alive attraction, Brian?
So this is, I don't know. I only slightly bent the rules, I guess, but the original iteration of Space Mountain in Paris.
Okay, I'm not familiar
Yeah.
with it actually.
It was the like Jules Verne themed one.
It
That
looks-
is,
Oh.
yeah.
Okay.
It's
I mean, it could be an overlay, right? Like,
The attraction itself is still there. It's just now it's the Star Wars Hyperspace Mountain. So it still exists, just not in the state.
not in the form
that it
you
was.
wanted it in.
Yes.
right.
Yeah, it was Space Mountain from the Earth to the Moon, and the
Yeah.
outside of it looks bonkers. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's you're getting shot out of a giant rocket into space. What more can you want?
I'm gonna have to look it up.
I'm trying to send a picture to the chat now of.
I'm also
There you
gonna
go. There's the concept art.
prepare you in advance that my wild card is also a dead attraction.
Oh,
Well, the wild card can be anything, right?
I hope so, because
I
I'm
guess
not
I
changing
totally
it.
Yeah.
forgot about. I forgot about the wild cards. So,
Oh.
Okay, it's got a little outside part to it then.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
kinda
what
cool.
shoots you into
Reminds me of
space.
Tomorrowland, the movie.
I wish that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say
That's
that doesn't
cool.
remind me of Tomorrowland at all, but I wish our Tomorrowland looked like that.
In the movie, because don't they?
Yeah.
Isn't there something that happens out of some like the Eiffel Tower or something? Is that a different movie?
Yeah.
Probably.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah, they they go up into space in some, I think it's like an elevator type of device
Yeah.
but they go from the Eiffel Tower, yeah. The great movie. I know it got terrible,
I liked it.
terribly pushed under the rug and undermarketed, and nobody liked it. But I liked
did
it.
too, and I wish that everybody had liked it more, so they could have done more with it. I think it's a really fun
Yeah,
environment.
I totally agree.
I think that was like one of Disney's last kind of throwing something out there that doesn't fit into a nice, they're not going down the line and checking the boxes that all like the movie has to fall into this category. We know it works.
Mhm.
We'll remake an old movie like that. That's kind of the end of an era, it feels like.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of sad.
So I have I have two more on my list, and I'm just gonna blow through the two that I have because the reasoning behind them I have kind of similar things. I was trying to pick a stage show, and I kind of struggled because there's like a couple choices that I could have
Does
taken
that not
here,
count
and
as the
I
live
ultimately
entertainment section?
Yeah,
Oh, I haven't done my show.
I thought that was all lumped in. I thought that we were lumping them
I
all
thought
in
we had
together.
10
Oh no, I have a separate.
attractions and
Oh,
2
okay,
shows.
cool. Oh, okay, yeah, no, never mind. Then I'm gonna come up with two more that I can throw in here because I can easily
Oh.
change that.
How many does everybody else have
Well.
left on their attractions? I have 2 left.
I have 2.
I have 2.
Okay.
I have to come up with two.
Well,
but-
then Mario can go last. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well,
I saw-
I'll oh, do you want to go?
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, this is like kind of counterpart to my last answer of Jungle Cruise. Is I put Kilimanjaro Safaris on mine because I think it is also very rewritable because it's a different experience every time. You have a different driver, you have different animal sightings. Sometimes you see something really cool happen. Other times it's just kind of cool, and you never really know what you're going to get. Plus, it's different during the day, it's different at night, and I'm a big nature nerd, so I wanted it. I got
That's
it.
another good one.
I like that pick.
It's a fantastic pick, especially if this is just like a theoretical, we get to pick whatever we want. It's just funny to think
This
like,
isn't
yeah, we
theoretical.
get one attraction.
It's with
Yeah,
me.
I'm gonna pick an attraction that's bigger than most of the other Disney parks in total. Oh, that also requires like an insane amount of people and effort to upkeep all the animals. But
Hey, I'm
a good pick.
promoting jobs, you guys.
Hey, there you go. I mean, it's a good pick. It's a great pick. My next one that I'm hoping I share with Kirsten, and I'm hoping she has a better reasoning for it than I do, because I just picked it because I like it, and that's Rock and Roller Coaster, and I wanted a nice, exciting, higher thrill level coaster in the park. I'm guessing by her silence, she did not pick it.
Or she's gone.
And she's gone.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh,
Yep, there she goes. Oh, she's back.
Did you pick Rock and Roller Coaster,
Can you hear me
Kirsten?
now? Dude,
Yes.
what the heck? It must be my microphone. Maybe I have a janky mic. Anyway,
Maybe.
yeah, I also just picked it because I like it and because Steven Tyler's my man.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you pick it because
so
Steven Tyler is also your man?
that is not why I picked it.
Secretly,
I
No
just
feet?
really enjoy the attraction.
No,
feet.
please. I don't want to think about the feet.
Hey, somebody that's really good at like video editing and Photoshop, can they do like cut in where he goes, I love that idea, but instead of putting his hand up to his forehead, he puts his foot up to his
No.
forehead.
No.
Yes, that's amazing.
Please, no.
It's like a cursed. That's
Oh,
like
gosh,
cursed
no.
images or whatever. Yeah,
I don't
I
want to think
literally
about
picked
that
everything
one.
on my list just because I liked it. Okay, I had no reason.
That's
That's
where
fair
most
enough.
of my picks came from, too.
Yeah, it's a great coaster. It's the only coaster that goes upside down, at least at Disney World. But I don't think there are any other coasters at other parks that go upside down, are there? Well, Tron. Does Tron go upside down?
Tron doesn't go upside down, but what's the one at at California
Oh, yeah.
Adventure? Doesn't
Oh.
California
Coaster.
Screaming?
I was going to say California Screaming. I couldn't remember what it was called now.
Okay.
But yeah, they definitely are few and far between in the Disney parks.
Yes, that's
Yep.
true.
So I've successfully come up with one.
All
one
right.
that I have to add to my list.
What
But
you
I feel
got?
like this one needs to be my closer, so I have nothing.
Oh boy.
Okay, well, I'll say the last one, which is another one I have not technically experienced. I put the Indiana Jones ride from Disneyland. Because
that's
Me
a good one.
too. That's my
I've heard
last
it's a
one.
lot like Dinosaur, but better. Oh,
Yes.
It's literally
okay,
the
yeah,
same
so I
track.
love Dinosaur. So yeah.
Totally agree with that pick. It was also the last one on my list. It's just really, it has an amazing queue. It's super fun, and it has such a wow factor on the special effects and the set design. It really is just like taking Dinosaur with a different story and just blowing it out of the water. So
You wrote it when you were in California?
I did, and it
Oh,
was
man.
literally, it was one of those rides where you had like a few moments of like jaw drop.
Really?
So
Oh man.
yeah.
You know, I was kind of toying around with the idea of putting Dinosaur on my list, mostly because I feel like the debate of Indiana Jones versus Dinosaur comes up so often. I don't have the like weight to put behind anything for picking Dinosaur, so I left that off of my list. But for the sake of adding something, we'll say that I threw that on my list anyway.
Okay, there we go. Good job, Mario.
Yeah. But my last one that I had, did anybody else have other ones, or was that
No,
all of
that's
your?
all.
I had one, really doesn't need much discussion, but I thought we needed something to showcase some Disney music and a nice spot to cool off during a hot day, so I put
I
PhilharMagic
almost
on
put
there.
that. It was
Oh,
It's cute.
between that and what was my last? Between that and Rockin, I really had a hard time deciding.
Wow.
are you guys ready for my last one? Because my last one was almost PhilharMagic too.
Oh wow.
However, I had a problem with it, and I think the problem is that it shows its age a lot like Flight of Passage does.
Yeah.
Or it will, which is
No,
why I
it
left
already
it off.
does.
Yeah. But my thought was similar to Brian's, and then I kind of had another thought, and I went, maybe we need something else that's classic too. And I took a hard turn from all of your lists, and I said that we need to keep the carousel. And I think that we need to keep the carousel specifically for the history behind it, but also because it is a nice relaxing ride. It is a nice place to cool off. I mean, I don't really do it like ever, but I think that that's got, it's got some Disney music that you can listen to. It kind of covers all of your reasons, Brian.
Yeah, so let's move on to
You
live
just-
entertainment.
Can't you just play the Disney music over the
Yeah.
loudspeakers?
Yeah, but I think having the carousel, because the whole idea of like that's what started it all, is what needs to stay around.
I guess that's a cute concept,
Yes.
Mario. I'm not putting it in my park still, but I'll support your decision.
It's very, very stable logic, but at the end of the day, yeah, if I've only got
It's not going to
10
draw a crowd.
yeah, and if I've got 10 slots to fill,
Yeah.
it's gonna need to be a little better than that.
I get you. So live entertainment.
Yes.
Did anybody not put folk?
I
picked
didn't.
Festival of the Lion King.
I
put two in my. I put these in my my attraction section and then had to move them because I forgot we broke this up a little more. I had Festival of the Lion King and I really liked that option, but I also had Finding Nemo the musical because I wanted live entertainment with cast members and I felt like those were two good options. But I think if I had to pick two of them or one of them, I would have put Festival of the Lion King.
Yeah.
Well, it comes as a shock to absolutely no one that I picked Fantasmic for one of these.
Yeah, that's not surprising at all.
But I really got to say, I think my other one is a one that you guys maybe you didn't even think about it, maybe you did and you made a bad call. But for my second one, I put Yeehaw Bob.
That was
a
great one, and I'm with you there.
That was when you said, "Oh, we had to pick two live entertainments." That was my next one that I picked.
Okay.
But I actually revised it a little bit and decided that I don't want to keep Yeehaw Bob, specifically because he doesn't say Disney Parks to me. I love Bob, and I do, but I think of the live entertainment options, the Casey's Corner Pianist says Disney a little bit more to me.
Okay.
I thought we couldn't resurrect anything.
That's fair. Oh God.
That's all.
Kirsten.
That was so bad. I had to think about that.
What the hell?
You soon, man.
God. We just reported on this last episode. Oh my God.
Oh, that stayed in the episode. That was great. That was so bad, but that was great. That was fantastic.
I'm sure he wasn't the only Casey's Corner pianist, right? Like he wasn't there 7 days a week.
It was
Probably not.
brutal. Good Lord.
Sorry.
Wow.
All right, so we're just wrapping this one up here, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Station 71.
Hold on. We have restaurants.
No, I was just kidding.
So, all right, I'll steer us away from this a little bit. My thoughts being that I wanted one like kind of stumble upon live entertainment. I wanted one like sit down live entertainment. So I agreed with Beth and I chose Yeehaw Bob as the like actually go to sit down and enjoy, like plan to go to entertainment. And then I chose the Dapper Dans as my other one because
good pick.
It's a good little just stumble upon. You might run into them and decide you want to stick around and listen to them.
I picked for my second one. I picked Dreamlights because I've heard that that's like the best parade in all the parks. So it was between that or Pinky Night.
I didn't even think about parades.
I know it's been so long since we had a real one.
I've been dreaming of one, so that's why.
So our last category was food, right? We didn't have anything else.
Restaurants, and then we have
a wild card,
wild card, and resort.
Oh shoot, yeah. Okay, I have a resort, but all right, restaurants. I already did one of mine. Anybody else?
Oh, that's
I
right.
put Garden Grill with Living with the Land.
Right.
That's all right.
It's okay.
I'm really shocked of
The
all,
restaurant's
like,
forgettable, I get
literally
it.
all the restaurants in all the Disney parks that you put Garden Grill. Like, not that I don't appreciate it for what it is, but like, it's Garden Grill.
Well, so I had thought behind the two that I picked, and the reason that I picked that one, like I said, was mostly because it tied in with Living with the Land and the idea that I wanted to keep the theme of it together. But my second option, and I know I'm knocking myself out of this early, is I put Be Our Guest, and I know you're going to make fun of me for that one too, because I've knocked how much I don't love the food of that. But I think the atmosphere for an
Picked a
in-park
restaurant with terrible food.
I did. No, I know. I know I did. But my food, the food there is fine, but the problem that I have with it is the prices. All that
Okay,
to
so he's
say,
got a problem with the prices. He's got a problem with the food. What does he like? What does he like
nothing.
about
I
it?
like nothing. Never, nothing. Yeah, no, I think the ambiance and like the atmosphere of the restaurant is kind of what, like, to me, if I were to have something in a park, this is kind of what I would want. And I mean, if we're keeping it like the quintessential Disney park, it was either that or like pick Pirates of the Caribbean and put the Blue Bayou in there, but I've never eaten there, so I can't speak on that. Like,
Yeah, but
I
you're
did
not
not
picking
eat
it for
it.
the food, so
yeah, I mean, that's
yeah.
fair.
I would like to say that it's kind of odd that you chose Casey Corner's pianist, but not Casey's Corner.
Casey's Corner.
That's fine.
So we've
Well,
just got some dude playing a piano in the middle of the park.
I have a reason for that.
He's just
So-
pianist. He's not Casey's Corner pianist.
Gotcha.
I have a reason for that.
Okay,
We'll circle around to at the end. Go
Okay.
through your restaurant.
Okay. He's got a reason.
I, in fact, did choose Casey's Corner. I wanted to have one quick service and one table service meal, and I thought Casey's Corner is the quintessential Disney quick service.
Oh, you know what?
It's fair.
That was a
I don't
good
know if I
pick.
mentioned this on my trip report, but you know what I'm so glad about? Whenever we went there, January before COVID, I remember complaining because they changed their fries to like those tiny little shoestring fries, and they have
That's my
changed them back
favorite.
to regular fries. Have y'all noticed that?
You did it!
Look at that.
You must have written a
Um,
very strongly worded letter.
Yeah, well, of all the advice that I've given them, that's like not the number one thing I would have chosen them to actually implement. But
Yeah.
That's not the thing you would
but,
have
like,
thought they would have
I am
taken.
They
glad.
wrote
Still
you
a
back
win.
and
Very
said,
happy to see the regular fries back.
did they write you back and say we can either give you the fries back or we can give workers a living wage, and you chose the fries?
No, sadly, I would not be
Ouch.
that selfish. If they had said we can give workers a living wage or bring wishes back, I 100% would have been like, give me wishes and fire everybody. I don't even care.
So you are selfish to an extent.
I mean, it's wishes. So
what's
So we
thousands
found
of
out
people
that
struggling to survive.
Kirsten cares about other people somewhere between French fries and wishes. But that's a pretty wide
the
margin.
bar.
Scale.
That's the bar that she's set is between wishes
this
and
is off
French
topic,
fries.
but I saw a TikTok the other day, and it was this girl saying, like, so people would not swim in a pool that had a dead body in it, but people do swim in oceans, and there are definitely dead bodies in the ocean. So everybody has a ratio of dead body to water that they are comfortable swimming in, which is a good point.
So your ratio of dead body to swim in is between French
Yeah.
fries and wishes. Is essentially
Pretty
what you're
much.
saying.
There we go.
So who else has restaurants?
I still have both of mine.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Oh.
I was
I
gonna say Kirsten has
really-
hers too.
I'll just go with one of mine first. I really strongly considered Casey's Corner because I do love me a plant-based slaw dog, and I love me some Casey's Corner fries. But for the overall experience, and me again, there's a theme here, nature nerd. I went with Sanaa because it is a quick service breakfast, and it's a table service lunch and dinner, so you kind of got a little both, and it has a lounge, so it's kind of got a little quick service element all day. It's got the animal viewing, the food is delicious, the drinks are delicious. It's a great atmosphere.
I almost chose it. That was like my third choice, but
I like that one.
y'all know I'm bougie, so my first one I chose California Grill. because it has
knew
everything.
it.
It's got an atmosphere, it's got a view, it's got delicious food. So basically, 2 out of 3 that Mario's don't have.
Wow.
And for my second one, I tried to go a little more low key, and I went with Via Napoli because it's delicious pizza.
Good choice.
But
That
Yeah.
was
the waiters from Via Napoli work at
mean,
both
don't-
restaurants, right?
There you
well. Hold
go.
on. The waiters from Via Napoli are her wild card.
No.
Oh, there it is. Every single cast member is a Via Napoli waiter.
Brian, she
I ain't
doesn't eat
mad
there for
about
the
it.
food; it's the ambiance.
Oh, goodness.
2 good picks. I also considered Via Napoli on mine.
Via Napoli was very close to making it on mine.
Ultimately, though, I went with selfishly something. Actually, this is another thing that I haven't. This is one of 2 things on my list that I have not experienced personally. This is a weird choice because it's a very selfish choice because this is the park that Beth wants, not the park that Beth thinks is best for everyone. I want to say Tiana's Place from the Disney Cruise Line because
That's an interesting cut.
I want to experience that. I want to experience Tiana's Place, and it has a live jazz band, and Tiana performs herself. And when she's not performing, she's walking around meet and greeting with people with Lewis, and I want
Is
that.
Lewis the alligator?
Yes.
How have you still not seen this movie?
Kirsten, it's our watch club for this month, and I feel like you need to watch it and be on with
I'm
us.
sorry. I tried one time and I
Yes.
fell asleep.
I know, it
That's
hurts
still
me when
so
you say
wild.
that.
Sorry, you can probably hear Eli crying. He's getting a shot. He's not being tortured. I know. Poor
Aw.
baby. I don't think that's
Bless him.
selfish. I think that's a good choice. A different atmosphere. It's a underrepresented princess.
Yes.
So, do we want to do resort or wild card? I
Hang
wild
on.
card's
Resort.
Wild card's last.
I have a restaurant.
Oh,
thought
Brian's
you
not
said you
done
were
with his
done.
restaurants.
No.
He just has Casey's Corner.
Yeah.
Casey's Corner.
I had my one, I had the, lowest, I don't want to say lowest, but, most fast foody type restaurant you can go to. And then I went kind of bougie on the other end and chose Ohana for my sit down.
Okay, that's a good pick.
That was, again, a tough one to leave off of my list.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I would say this is the 2 restaurants that I eat at Disney the most often. And I don't eat at Ohana very often, which should let you know how often I eat at Casey's Corner. So, yeah.
All the time.
Good choice. All right, so I want to do resorts first, and I'll tell you
Okay.
why. Because it affects my wild card.
Interesting.
Do we get to keep everything in the resort as it is? We pick the resort, and it's literally, it stays in its entirety.
I would think so.
So
It
here's
gets
what I'm
picked and moved, but the only thing that would get excluded would be I guess restaurants, live entertainment. So no, the
That's
answer
what
is
I'm
no.
asking.
Yeah.
But here's what I think
asking.
would be fair, okay? The wild card is a wild card. So I think if you pick your resort is what the resort is. But if you want to use your wild card to bring something into that resort, I think that's fair to use a wild card for that.
Well, the only reason I kind of disagree with that is because you guys picked Bob for live entertainment. So I could cheat the system and say I want Port Orleans
God.
Riverside.
I did that, and I did not even realize that I did that.
That's what I mean. If I say Riverside, I get Bob by default.
Wow.
So I think that the resort should just be the resort.
All right, so all the
Dang.
restaurants and entertainment options are removed, but you get to keep the typical things that a resort would have, like the atmosphere, the room design,
Yeah.
the pool,
Yeah.
Okay.
etc. Okay. All right, see, this is why I asked.
So do you need to make changes?
No, so
No.
my resort and my wild card go hand in hand, so I will put them together, I
Okay.
think.
All right, let's hear it.
This is a really hard call. Bob's going to have to find somewhere else to perform because I'm going to go with the Poly and my wild card is going to be
I
Trader
was waiting for
Sam's.
that.
Yep,
Ooh.
I knew it was coming. As soon as you said they go hand in hand, I was like, yeah, it's coming.
Boom.
Anybody
That's
else want to
good.
do resort?
Contemporary.
Well, so
I knew Kirsten was
Yeah.
It
picking
was
that one
hard
off the
between that and
bat.
Boardwalk, but Contemporary has my heart because it's going to include Bay Lake Towers. I assume if you pick one with a PVC, it stays.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think that's
they're
fair.
I'm going to
rooms.
make one of the Grand Villas my home. So, there.
So
I get one of the bungalows
Hey.
then.
Just get one. You get
It's your
one
part.
bungalow.
I get 2 or 3 of them.
No, you get
I'll
one
get
bungalow
half.
and you like it.
All right, that's fine. I'll take a bungalow.
What were you saying, Brian?
Oh, I actually picked Port Orleans because I wasn't even like thinking about that. But you know what? I'm okay because in my universe, there's 2 Yeehaw Bobs, and I think that just makes for a better world.
Funny enough, I picked the Polynesian too, but I didn't pick it for thinking like the way that you thought, Brian. Like that stuff would stay, or bet that stuff would stay in there. So wild cards.
Wild cards.
So do you want to hear my tie-in with the Casey's Quarter Pianist?
Oh yes.
Yes.
I would like to keep, and obviously I feel like the rules apply to this, so it would kind of end up losing a couple things. But I would like to keep all of Main Street as my wild card.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay, so are we? I think you can keep the facade of Main Street. I don't think you get to keep all like everything that
No,
it
no,
entails.
I would
Yeah.
honestly, Main Street really just kind of needs the facade, I think, and you could drop the pianist in there, and I don't know, maybe that's all
Yeah.
it would be, is like a little tiny Main Street. But I think
Okay.
Main Street is also quintessential to Disney parks, or at least
That's
to me, that's
fair.
what it says.
That's a good pick, and it's like whenever Hollywood Studios had the streets, back there was nothing in there you could go inside, but I still enjoyed walking up and down them and
Oh, I
looking at
love
stuff.
Streets of America. If they were still around, that probably would have been my pick.
Yeah, I miss them.
So I will piggyback off of that and say that my wild card is not Main Street, but the Main Street Electrical Parade.
Oh, that was literally one of my
That is-
backups.
Oh yeah.
I would
Yeah.
strike that. Like that. If I was like, what can we remove? I would literally remove Main Street Electrical.
That would be the first thing Kirsten
Wow.
gets rid of.
Hey, can your audio cut out again or what?
Well, no, hold on. I feel like a better strike, Kirsten, would be the electric
Ooh,
water
well, yeah.
pageant. There you go.
Come on, the
I
electric
love
water pageant
both
ain't
of
hurting
them.
nobody.
No, I do, but I love the electric water pageant. I just had to strike the chord.
I could kind of see why someone would be slightly haunted by a few of the floats in the Main Street Electrical Parade, but the water pageant ain't hurting anybody.
You know what
No.
bugs
Most
me
people
about
don't
that
even know
parade?
it
That
exists.
chicken wire. The chicken wire is ashamed to be a part of it.
Oh my god.
I think the fact that me and Kirsten can both be Disney fans and have such drastically different opinions on stuff shows how good it is at entertaining a large number of people.
Good point.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay. Has everybody else done their wild card?
Yes,
Mhm.
but you can't bring back wishes, can you?
You know that's what she picked.
Yeah, you can't just hurt her like that. Give her wishes.
All right, it's a wild card. You can have
That's
it.
all I want in life.
That's all she wants. She
You
can
just like
have it.
crushed her dreams.
I'm sorry, Kirsten. You can have
Okay.
wishes.
I would give up all the other rides, all the restaurants, everything, just for wishes.
Just one
My
more
part
time.
could just be a field where there were fireworks every night. I don't even care.
As long as it was wishes.
That would be way cheaper than having all these attractions and restaurants.
Listen, don't pitch it, because if they know that someone will go there, I'm sure it's coming.
Dude, people would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're listening, Bobs, they wouldn't. Don't
I would
do
literally,
that.
I will buy land in the middle of nowhere in Texas if they will send a pyrotechnician to set up the show for me.
Oh my
That's
god.
funny.
Kirsten said that's why she wants to win the lottery, so she can buy a field near her house that they'll bring wishes
Just watch
to.
it once a week.
My
You
God.
wouldn't even
I
watch it
can't
every
afford that
night?
many pyrotechnics.
But you won the
Yeah,
lottery.
but I mean, I have to like buy houses and stuff too.
See, this just goes to show that Wishes isn't that great, because even in this theoretical fantasy, she doesn't even watch
Once
it
a
every
week.
night.
I mean, I have a
Oh.
life too that I have to live. I could charge people, and then I could make enough money to
Too bad.
sustain it.
There you go. See, now
Oh
she's
my
being an
God.
entrepreneur.
Now she's really speaking the
Paycheck's gonna
Disney
hire me.
language.
Yeah, capitalism.
I know. You've become the one thing you sought to destroy.
Or should we call you Bob?
Bum bum bum. Well, any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
That was fun. I
That was
enjoyed
fun.
that.
I love these episodes. I think these are my
Yeah.
favorite.
Yeah. It's
When you
low
get, like-
stress.
Yeah, and when you get like a hard number on what you have, like what you can keep, it really makes you, see what you appreciate over other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or in my case, struggle to find extra things to add in. Maybe I really don't like Disney.
One or the other.
Oh.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.